welcome to this month's version of Healthy Kitchens, Healthy Lives. Today we're doing a cooking class with Japanese-inspired salad with edamame. And I'd like to introduce my guest. I have Steve with me today.
Hello.
Steve's here. Hello. Thank you so much for joining.
No problem.
Steve is the behind-the-scenes man at Lifescape, and we would all be in trouble without him. And he's also a home cook. What are some of the things you like to cook at home?
Oh, I like to barbecue stuff, Italian food, fish. I've been cooking for a long time, so I do most of the cooking in the house.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's awesome. So I'm really excited too to announce that you're the first male on the cooking show. Woo! So hopefully that'll inspire some of you watching to get your partner, spouse, friends involved in the kitchen. It's not gender specific, it's gender neutral. So Steve's going to be the sous chef today as we go through everything. And this recipe can be done really quickly and easily if you want to take some shortcuts that still allow you to have that whole food presentation. And I'll give you those shortcuts as we move through. So what I always like to do is start off with the dressing so that it has some time for if there's any spices or herbs in it or flavors to blend. And then we'll go ahead and get the base of the salad put together. So Steve is going to demonstrate with the dressing. We're going to put it in this handy bottle made for dressing.
Want me to start zesting and getting the lemons ready?
Yeah, that'd be great. So Steve's going to use a zester. And if you guys have seen my cooking shows in the past, you know that we do tend to zest quite a bit. And that's because there's a lot of flavor and essential oils in the peel. And when you zest it really nice and fine, it doesn't consume the flavor of whatever you're putting in. Instead, it enhances the flavor.
And you want to try to avoid getting any white stuff to keep it on the yellow.
Exactly. So that's the pith that he's talking about, and that's where the bitter part is, right?
Right.
Okay. Yeah, so it takes a little bit of a lighter touch.
And you don't need a lot. It's very flavorful.
Yeah, exactly. And you guys, this is something that you don't want to miss doing as part of your recipe because this will really enhance the flavor like you can't believe. So it's worth doing. If you don't have a zester, just go grab one and have it in your kitchen, because really the key to good cooking, and you can tell me, Steve, if you agree, is simplicity.
Yep.
It's not having 20 different flavors or 15 different vegetables or, things like that. It's really about getting some quality ingredients and a couple of flavors that come together and pop with each other, and voila, it's fantastic. Like for example, when I cooked the quinoa earlier this morning, this is a tricolor quinoa we're going to be using as the base of our salad. This was cooked. Yeah, that's perfect. And we'll show you guys what that looks like here in just a second. And I just added a little bit of olive oil once it was warm to keep it from being super sticky. Okay, so Steve is,
Cut this in half.
Sure. We're working on a little small cutting board, you guys. Steve's being very generous with his space. And we're using fresh lemon juice. So here's the citrus squeezer. And he's going to citrus squeeze that into the... Yep.
Okay.
Oh, no. Other way around. Yep, so put the cut side into the juicer, and this one has a lime spot and a lemon spot. Nope, the other way.
Obviously, I've never used this
before.
Yeah,
that's good. So you guys, can you see how he's doing that?
I have a little jar with a little thing on top that I turn.
Go the other way. Yeah, so this one has the holes on the bottom, so we're going to put the cut side down like this, and then he gets to demonstrate his strength and skill.
Just put it right in here.
Yep. And he's squeezing that in. The recipe calls for 3 tablespoons of lemon juice. You can, with that one, Steve, you can kind of tip the edge a little bit because sometimes the juice will spill out onto the side. Yeah, perfect. And you guys, this is therapeutic to squeeze this. Right? Okay, so we'll get rid of this.
That's probably about a tablespoon.
Yep, so we're going to keep going. Other way. There you go.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So now he's got the flow. And this is super easy. Now, do you want to make a lot of lemonade like this? No. It would take a long time. But, there you go. Doing it this way makes a lot of sense because there's nothing like fresh ingredients to make things happen. And especially fresh lemon juice. And you can buy squeezed lemon juice in the store. Just check and make sure they haven't put something in it, you know, citric acid or some kind of other preservative. That will change the flavor.
Are those the ones that come in, they look like a lemon or a lime in the little squeeze thing?
Yeah, exactly.
So one more?
It may be fine.
That's pretty close, I think.
Yep, I think we're good. And we can always keep that one on the back burner just in case we need it. Okay, perfect. So we've got the lemon juice, and we're going to add, this is a special oil for the Asian taste that we're doing. So this is the toasted sesame oil. You guys can see it's a smaller container. And you can use regular sesame oil, but it's not going to make the flavors pop. So we want to use a tablespoon and maybe a little more, but we'll just see. Don't go overboard with this oil because it's really strong. And I can tell you that from experience because I've done it, gone overboard. And if we need to add a little more oil to the dressing, we'll do that with just some plain olive oil. So we've got that together, and then we want to add something I forgot to grab out of the cupboard. Steve, maybe you can share a little bit about how you explore new recipes, and I'm going to go grab that from the kitchen.
You're going to get the
I need the
soy sauce?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to give Steve the stage for a minute. I'll be right back.
Okay. So it's been a real pleasure here working with Dana, and I'm hopefully get some better cooking habits and some healthier cooking habits. It'll certainly do me good. And sometimes it's tough because you have a lot of built-in habits and recipes that you've had from when you were young, but you can't eat things at my age that we had when I was in college or in my 20s. So it's been a little tough realizing that sometimes. So I'm looking forward to Dana helping me down the path to get healthier and lose some weight and have fun too.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for saying that.
Okay.
So what we're going to use is, this is coconut aminos, which is an alternative to soy sauce.
Mm-hmm.
You can use either one. It depends on your taste and preference. But this is a nice alternative, and as you guys know, I like to always show you different options in the class. And this is it's salty and sweet, just like soy sauce. It's fabulous. So we're going to put a tablespoon of this in. And you can use this just if you're sauteing some greens or some broccoli. Adds a ton of flavor, takes out the bitterness of the greens. And you can find this at Sprouts, Whole Foods, other grocery stores.
Just remember, it does add sodium though.
Yeah, exactly. So we don't necessarily need to add salt right away because it may be fine. So that covers everything in the...
Little black pepper maybe?
Oh, and he's gonna go get that. He knows where it is. So we're gonna add a little bit of black pepper. If you have the black pepper corns, you can use a grinder, and again, super fresh and flavorful and yummy. If you don't have that, it's okay. Just already ground black pepper is fine too. And once you make the dressing, keep in mind that it's good for probably like 3 to 5 days when you make a homemade dressing, because it doesn't have any preservatives in it. And you can use it on other things too. You can use it as a marinade for chicken or fish. You can use it on cooked vegetables like a steamed asparagus, and then put the dressing over the top. So remember that this is a sauce essentially that can be used for anything. So this is the way we like to do it, is make one thing that can work for lots of different things.
How much? Just a pinch?
He's going to put in a pinch.
Okay. That's a pinch.
Okay, and then we get to do the fun thing. So I'm going to let you shake it up.
Notice we've kept the zest, which is for later on, so don't throw that away.
Yeah, you just want to get it done in advance.
Okay.
There you go. Okay, so we've got
Put
this.
that aside.
Yeah, let's just show everyone how it looks. Ta-da! So we can shake it back up as much as we want and then do a little taste test before we add it in.
Okay, yeah, we'll taste it before we add it in, see if it needs anything.
Exactly. Sometimes it does need a little more love. I'm not one of those cooks. I don't know about you, Steve, but I don't eat anything while I'm cooking. Yeah. I always have people say, Dana, how can you possibly not, taste as you go? I just have this sense of what it's like, and I smell.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
It depends. Depends on what I'm doing. If it's a true and tried recipe that I've done in the past, I probably don't do a lot of tasting. But when I'm adventuring off and doing something new, I get, especially if we're having company over, and it's, you don't want it to be horrible. You do taste.
Sure. Yeah. No, that makes sense. I respect that. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to prepare the kale and get the salad assembled. And this is actually really fun. When Steve agreed to help me with the class, he said, there's one thing I'm not sure about in this recipe.
I've never massaged kale before, so.
Have you massaged in general? Are you a
that's
massager?
Kind of a private question. When I cook kale, I normally, I put it in the oven for about 20 minutes.
Okay.
With just a spritz of olive oil and some sea salt, and it's almost like a snack. It's like potato
crunchy.
chips or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's the way I like to do it, and that softens it up quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're going to try something new here.
Yeah, so here's what we're doing is he's doing the rip and strip method, which I don't think you guys can see as well. Let me get out of the way.
You never want to eat this stem in the middle.
It's just a little different texture. It might be a little more bitter. So what Steve is doing is you're holding the leaf at the top, and it's called rip and strip, and he's just pulling down. Again, another really therapeutic thing to do. I think cooking can be really therapeutic because it gets you out of your head and into the kitchen. So,
I do this with romaine lettuce too. On the leaves that are on the very outside that have the thick stems.
Interesting.
If you want to make a nice Caesar salad or whatever.
Yeah.
Some people would say that's wasteful, but
it's more of like the fine art of cooking when you do that. So these stems actually are fine to eat. You can save them and chop them up and saute them, or you can blenderize them or put them in a soup, or you can just discard them. So it's up to you how you want to work it. There's nothing wrong with the stem. It's just for the mouthfeel of the salad, we're going to keep them out. So I'm going to have Steve add just a little bit of drizzle of the kale. You can see it here in our nice big bowl.
Little olive oil.
He's going to put a little olive oil on there. And then this is where I think the real...
Tell me when.
Good. That's great. Thank you. This is where the real magic happens, because it's your hands touching the food. Oh, hi, we have a visitor.
Hello.
Hi there.
A taster.
Good to see. We have somebody who makes
I'll bring you guys back a little bit
All
because
right, we're still here.
we could not see Steve.
Oh, heck.
Okay. Frank is always keeping me on target. Thank you so much. Yep. Yep. I don't know. Okay, so like I was saying, thank you so much, Frank.
You're welcome.
We'll invite you back to try.
Okay.
He's going to be a taster
Will
later.
do. Will do.
Perfect, thank you.
Too bad the kale can't give me a tip after I'm done here.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. And so, why do we massage kale? Because it's fun to play with our food. Oh, that's part of it.
Oh, and by the way, I washed my hands twice before.
He did. He said, like a surgeon. So I believe him. And with this kind of kale, you don't have to go too crazy because it's already a little bit of a softer variety. But we massage kale because it is such a tough cruciferous vegetable that we don't want that really hard kind of raw texture in our salad since we're not cooking it. So this is almost like steaming the kale without going through that extra step. So now you can see it's turned a nice bright emerald green. Steve is awesome at this, you guys. If someone needs a neck rub, I think we know where to go.
Well, tell me what you think. Should we try one?
Let's give it a try.
Not bad. I'm going to go rinse my hands
He's
real
going to
quick.
go rinse. And you guys, another reason we do that with a little bit of olive oil is because the oil helps you absorb the fat-soluble vitamins in the green leafy vegetables. And if you don't have oil on your vegetables like this, you can absorb the nutrients as well. Also, you can massage in a little bit of lemon juice or dressing, and it helps impart that flavor into the salad a little more aggressively than just dressing it. But right now we've got this beautifully massaged kale, and you can see the volume went down by almost half.
Right.
So don't shy away from using, that was an entire bundle of kale that we had cut up and put ready to go. So next we're gonna add in the quinoa. And as I mentioned earlier, this is the cooked quinoa. It's a tricolor.
You cook it like rice, basically, right?
Yep, exactly. So it's 1 cup of quinoa to 2 cups of water.
Just like rice.
Exactly. And you can cook it in broth if you want it to have more flavor.
Sure.
I just use plain water because I want the flavors of the salad to dominate.
Okay.
So this is 3 cups worth, and you can just go ahead and add that into the kale for us. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. And what I suggest doing is when you're making this, make 2 cups dry and get 6 cups cooked. And then you can save some of that, either freeze it or use it for something else later in the week. Because that's one of the things about cooking is if you're making something, why not make more? You know, make double and then you have more.
Should we throw the zest in now?
Yeah, so let's add the zest. He is a chef, you guys, because he knows that if you use the edge of the knife, you can scoop things off the cutting board really efficiently. So that's something fantastic. It's so nice to see. Okay, so now we've got some color in here. As you guys know, I always say 2 colors per meal. And then the next thing we're gonna do is add some more vegetable, as if we don't have enough already. We're going to add some
This is chopped cucumber
cucumber.
and some scallions.
Yep.
So I think there's like 3 basic types of cucumbers. There's the American cucumber, there's the English cucumber, which is the real long one, and then these are Middle Eastern cucumbers.
Exactly, and I'm so glad you brought that up because the Middle Eastern and the English cucumbers are better in the salad. They tend to be a little sweeter, and they don't have as many loose big seeds, which some people find to be bitter or not enjoyable. So,
this is great if you wanted in the summertime to make a infused water with cucumber in it. I don't know if anybody ever does
that's
that.
a great idea. I call that spa water.
Yeah.
And that really helps a lot too. And as you guys could see, I had chopped that up into really small, even bits, and that allowed us to make it all uniform. So you don't want to have your vegetables odd shapes and sizes, and that's one of the keys to making a dish fabulous, is having everything in a uniform size.
So we'll throw in the beans.
Yep, so the next thing we're going to do is add in the edamame, and I bought these cooked in the shell. Bless Steve's heart, he took all of the shells out and put it together for us. And so he's going to add the edamame, and this is our vegetarian or plant-based protein.
So when you go to P.F. Chang's, you know, this is what you get in the shell, basically, but that has a lot of salt in it.
Exactly, and he was thinking about using his teeth. Not really, we were just joking.
Well, it's kind of a habit when you order an edamame, you know, you scrape it on your teeth.
Yeah, exactly. And most of the time when you eat edamame, it's been cooked in a little bit of boiled water, taken out, drained, and then you add some fresh lemon juice and a little bit of salt. We didn't add anything to this edamame because we've made a dressing, and that's going to, you know, enhance the flavors altogether. So Steve is busy mixing this up for us, and I wanted to take a minute. We're going to take just a moment here and pause. I think I can't see. And hi everyone, we're back. We just started doing some technical gymnastics here to see how it works. Okay, thank you so much for being patient with us. the next thing we're going to do is add the dressing, which is over here. So Steve, I'm going to have you shake it up again because it needs to re-emulsify or blend the water-soluble and the fat-soluble ingredients together.
Do we want to give it a little taste first?
We sure can, and I'm going to let you give it a dab and see if we need a little more of this or that or the other.
It's very lemony.
That's
It's
what I
good,
was
though.
worried about. Do we need to calm down the lemon a little bit?
Yeah, I would add something, maybe even maybe a little salt,
Okay.
salt and pepper to mellow out the tartness of the lemon.
Okay. Yeah, and that's actually the nice juxtaposition of the tartness of citrus. You can use salt. If you over salt something, opposite, you can add lemon to take it out. So I'm going to put a little bit of salt in my palm.
Maybe just a touch more of the sesame.
Okay. Yeah, and so this is where I do actually recommend doing some tasting, and we could add even a little bit more of the aminos if we need something like that. He's going to give it another go and see what he thinks. And this is all to your preference. So remember, a recipe is a base. It's a template, and then it's up to you as the cook to personalize it and decide how you want it to taste.
Much better.
Okay.
We're good.
Perfect. So he's going to shake it up one more time, shake it up, and then add it to our beautiful salad. And while he's doing that, I want to take a minute and talk about soy. I have a lot of people that are very confused about soy, and it's understandable because there's so much press and marketing around soy. It's good for you, it's bad for you, it'll save your life, it'll kill you. And so I actually agree that it's somewhere in the middle, and it all depends on your situation, right? And so here's the thing, it's quality and dose dependent. Those are the two main things. So if you're eating food that has processed soy in it, like protein bars or protein powder or soy protein isolate in anything, basically, then that's the kind of soy that we want to avoid. And it's easy to remember because it's in processed food. What the thing that we do want to have with soy is we want whole food soy. So just like Steve said, these beans come out of the shell fresh.
Mm-hmm.
So these are whole food. They have not been altered in any way. They're just grown on the plant, picked, and then cooked. So whole food soy is fine. And some of my patients say, well, I think I should avoid soy because it may cause breast cancer. You probably haven't heard that because that's not something you would be concerned with.
I'm concerned because I know it adds salt when you use soy sauce. So.
Okay, so he's thinking more about the other ingredient as part of the sauce, which that's a whole nother story, absolutely. But what we know is that very dense breast tissue is much more causally linked to breast cancer than the consumption of soy. And we actually know that soy can help reduce the risk of breast cancer if it's in a whole food form. So I wanted to make sure that was clear because it is confusing. And then also some people say, well, I can't have soy because it affects my thyroid. So that's another thing that comes out often with our patient population. And if the only time that would be true is if you are tested and you have low iodine. Then you would want to be cautious with soy. However, the chances that you have low iodine are extremely rare because our food is made with a lot of salt and it's iodized.
Yeah.
So that's probably not likely to happen. So basically you want to choose whole food soy that is fermented, like soy sauce, which is made from fermented stock, or tempeh or miso, any of those kinds of things. And we're also going to talk about fermented foods in that same light. But one thing I do want to say is the benefits of soy are significant. They can help lower cholesterol. They can help protect your kidneys if you have type 2 diabetes. That's a big deal, absolutely. It can decrease your occurrence of hot flashes, not yours, but mine. Haven't been there yet, but it's probably coming. And then it can help improve bone density. So don't avoid soy as a whole food product. Look for non-GMO, organic if possible.
What about tofu?
That would be also a good option. Just look at your tofu because they'll add a lot of different ingredients to the tofu. So you want to just see, is it actually just made from organic whole soybeans and filtered water?
Okay.
Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is talk about the fermented food. And this is, as we were saying, that's what a lot of the soy products are. But I wanted to do something else because I think this salad, although it's gorgeous, ta-da, is we want to add a little color because, as you know as a chef, something tastes better if it looks better.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And so I decided to take this opportunity to bring in this new product. Well, new to you guys, not new to us. But this is by Wild Brine. It's living raw fermented kraut. So it's made from cabbage and beets. And this has been fermented, which lacto fermentation, which means over time. There's no vinegar in here. And that's what confuses a lot of people is, oh, I eat sauerkraut a lot. Well, this is different. It's the same vegetable, but the process is different. So that's why it needs to be kept cold in the refrigerator. And so this is something that we add at the very end as a condiment. You only need a tablespoon or two to make it delicious. But you know what I just realized before we add that is...
Some sesame seeds.
Yep, ta-da! So Steve, have you had sesame seeds toasted before?
Sure.
Okay.
You just got to watch them carefully because they'll burn really quickly on your broiler. So.
Exactly. So what I suggest doing is, again, making this kind of a cooking meditation, is put a saute pan on the stove dry, turn on the heat to low, let it warm up, and then put the sesame seeds in there in a single layer, and then just kind of move them around carefully because they'll fly out of the pan. And wait until they start turning a little bit brown and you can smell their aroma, and then pull them off.
Okay.
The reason I suggest that is because the oil in here is really delicate to high heat. And if you get the heat too high on something like this, it can become a trans fat.
Okay.
So that's the trick.
So my broiler method isn't good.
Might be a little aggressive.
Okay.
A little on the masculine cooking side. Yeah.
It's quick.
It is quick, but in this case, actually, a little more time is better just
Okay.
to protect the oils.
Good suggestion.
Yeah, so I'm glad that you said that's how you do it. I bet a lot of people do. And I'm always helping people just kind of tweak and change their habits. Little things like this add up over time. So we toast the sesame seeds for one reason.
Flavor.
Bingo. Yeah, this man
They're
is
not,
coming back. I think you should all put a bunch of thumbs up in there for him to join me again because this is so fun. All right, so it's up to you.
Put them all?
Mm-hmm. We're gonna put them in there. It calls for half a cup. I didn't even use a half a cup, but I think there's still
That's
plenty
fine.
in here. Yeah. And you can toss it together. This is really nice, you guys, because it does add another layer of flavor, and it's worth it. And toasting them, again, just like with the lemon zest, it's so worth it to impart that flavor. And it gives a little bit of crunch to the salad. And if you guys are like me, I love having a little bit of like that crouton, like essence, you know, a little crunch in there.
Parmesan crisps.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. And it also really looks pretty. And this is where we start really starting to think Asian cuisine because that's so common of what they do. So if you guys can see that fine detail, I'm holding it up for you to check it out. And then the last thing I'm going to do is have Steve put a little bit of color on top with the fermented vegetables. These are so critical, you guys, for your diet. There's no reason to not include these because they do so many things. Beautiful. Yeah, that's great. So he's just adding a little dash and splash. And you can keep it in the side dish when you're serving the salad. If people want to add some more to their salad, they certainly can. So here you can see now we've got some nice color in there. Beautiful.
And avocado.
Yes, thank you. I'm going to have Steve do the avocado. And that's bringing in some healthy monounsaturated fat. And these are nice and ripe. The reason I know that is because when I press on it, I can feel the flesh inside give quite a bit. And so these are ready to eat today, or they're going to become guacamole tomorrow. So Steve just went ahead and scored around the outside, and then you can twist it like this, cha-ching, and you get your two halves. And look at him, he's definitely a chef. He knows to cut inside.
I would normally use a regular table knife for this.
Yeah,
Because you got to be careful with your hands.
and you can use a spoon if you want to get that out. Just so I don't want to have anything happen on my watch. This man's hands are valuable. And then he's putting some avocado on top of the salad. It adds fiber and satiety and also some awesome nutrients. And you can go about this however you want. It can be served on the side or added on top. But I want to just back up as he's doing that and say fermented vegetables are so critical to our microbiome. And our microbiome, which is that internal environment in our intestine, is really like our second brain practically. It tells the rest of our body how to thrive. And we do a lot of stool testing here, and some of you guys may have already undergone that and realize what that exactly means. But when you support your microbiome, you tend to have better bowel movements, more regular bowel. A lot of people do struggle with constipation. It improves digestion in general by enhancing your bioavailable nutrients to your cells. It's also antimicrobial, so it helps protect us from any pathogens that may be coming into the meal, like salmonella, which is something nobody wants to get sick with because that'll take you out.
I think 2 is going to be enough.
Okay, so he's doing 2. These are real small, so maybe 1 large one would be fine. And also, the fermented vegetable adds like a little umami to the food. Is that something that you're familiar with, Steve? That name?
Yeah, but don't ask me what it is.
Okay. Umami is in the Japanese culture, from what I understand, it's that like 5th taste bud essentially.
Okay.
It's what adds that little bit of zing or zip to your meal that makes you walk away going, God, that was just really good. You know, what was it that made that so fabulous? So this is a finished product, and Steve has made us a little avocado flour in the middle. Ta-da!
Presentation is everything.
Yeah, it is. I love it. So that's how you make it. And we made a big, huge batch. So 3 cups of quinoa. Look at how much food this turned into.
Yeah.
I mean, who would have thought? I was thinking about making more, and I went, no, I think that's going to be plenty.
Just got to be careful if you have leftovers. The avocados don't keep all that well. So
Yeah, exactly.
that's why maybe you keep one back for fresh if you have leftovers and take the old ones off.
Perfect, exactly. So little tweaks and tips as we go through this. So that's how it works, you guys. Super simple and easy. This is a great salad without the avocado on top. It's going to last in the fridge for probably 4 or 5 days, I would guess. And in my house, it's not going to last that long because it's something I love. You can eat this for breakfast.
Yeah.
I mean,
you've
why
got
not?
this recipe online on the post-it?
Yeah, so the recipe's been emailed out to the community. It's also posted in the Brilliant Health community as well. And it's going to be added to the Healthy Kitchens Club. For those of you who don't know about that, this is a great chance for you to think about joining the Healthy Kitchens Healthy You Club. It's a membership-based club exclusive to the Lifescape community, and then any of their friends and family that they'd like to have join. And in it, we have all these videos posted, the recipes, lots and tips around everything kitchen related. So I
Sounds
encourage
great.
you to jump in and try that. So with that being said, we're going to sign off for today. So grateful to have all of you here. And wow, Steve, thank you
That was great.
so
Fun.
much.
Lots of fun.
We're going to see if we can get them back, you guys. Thanks so much, and be well.
Oh, that's fun.